situationships. Hi guys, so today I want to talk about what are the things that I learned from situationships. Basically, a situationship is a connection between two people that was never labeled. You guys are never like official. You guys never had like a label like relationship, but it was still a connection, so you're still allowed to grieve. You know, you're still allowed to feel sad that it's no longer the same as it was before. But you also have to realize you have to move on. You have to decide to move on, honey. So first, I need you to be very careful of who you interact with in the daily basis. So basically, you have to be very selective of the people that you interact with in the daily basis, because you won't even realize it and so much feelings for this person. And sometimes when these two people still don't know themselves enough, you guys will just be in a situationship and you guys won't even realize it's a situationship until like years later. So basically, like in my case, like we didn't work out because we couldn't like have clear communication. I learned about attachment styles, and like I realized that I was fearful avoidant and the other person is probably anxious attachment style. And like I realized that like whenever there was a conflict in a relationship, I tend to shut down. Like even with friendships and stuff, like whenever there was conflict, I would shut down because that's the safest like way for me to like deal with what I'm feeling. So I want to like marinate on it and like think about it, because I don't want to say anything impulsive that is hurtful to the other person. So I preferred like just staying in my own place and zone and think about what happened, why did this situation trigger me. And like anxious attachment people are usually like the ones who want to like solve it now. They want to talk about it now. And that's where things really go messy, because you guys will have like a misunderstanding and you will never be able to heal or like fix that misunderstanding. So then there would be no communication, and when there's no communication, there's basically no like relationship. There's no friendship without communication. There's no relationship without communication. There's no situationship without communication. So yeah, you have to realize that communicating is very important, you know. And I only realized these things when it was already like way after, like years later. And it's so annoying now because like I have to deal with it now, because like I suppressed it in the past because I didn't knew about situationships. What are situationships? Situationship is basically a connection between two people that is not labeled. So they're not girlfriend or boyfriends. They're also not in a relationship, but they do things that people in relationships usually do. So they have emotional connection, emotional intimacy, but they don't have like a label yet. So basically, why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about this because I went through situationships in my life, and I didn't even know that this word existed because it was not even like widely known back then, non-existent. The word, it was basically not popular back then. So I didn't even realize I had these situationships until it was like years later. So basically, what's the first thing that I learned? The first thing that I learned is love is a very complicated thing. You don't know if you're actually in love with that person or maybe just the idea of them. Like, you don't know, is it love or attachment? I want to make this video because I want to comfort one person that is also going through this. Maybe you're confused, maybe you're hurt, maybe you have to find yourself again because this situation left you brokenhearted or maybe in regret or hurt. So I want to help anyone who's going through a situationship. In the past, I've had situationships with people, but you have to know, back then I didn't even know that word existed. It wasn't as popular as it is now. So yeah, like I didn't know half the things that I know now. That's that. You have to be careful of who you interact with in the daily basis. If you keep interacting with a person, you will inevitably form a bond with them, an attachment. Whether you are aware of it or not, that's what's gonna happen if you keep talking to them, if you keep learning about who they are. And that's very dangerous, much more dangerous than you realize. So you have to be very, very careful of who you interact with regularly or consistently. you will form that attachment with someone, that bond, and you don't even realize, but you're already in a situationship without even knowing it, you know. And you don't want to deal with like moving on, because it's so hard to move on from something that was never even concrete, you know. So yeah, I was in the same place. I didn't know what situationships were in the first place. Like back then, I didn't even realize that a word like that existed, because it wasn't as popular, and it probably didn't even exist back then, to be honest. Basically, a situationship is a connection that is not labeled between two people. Now, why am I making this video? I want to make this video because I want to help people that are also trying to move on from situationships in their lives, and I want to be that person that will make you heal and understand yourself more. You have to know the importance of choosing who you energetically exchange with. These are the things that I wish I knew back then, because honestly, I didn't even realize that this word existed. Honestly, it probably didn't even exist back then. So I just want to help one person, at least one person that is also going through, you know, the withdrawal effects of a situationship. I want you to feel like you're not alone. A lot of people deal with this, and you will heal, okay? You just believe you can heal, because everything is like unfolding for a greater cause, and this is meant to teach us about ourselves and about other people. And honestly, maybe you guys were just not meant to stay in each other's lives. We have to accept that. We have to accept that maybe the role in each other's lives and the soul contract that you had with each other is over, and you guys are meant to separate ways and like learn what you learned, your highest good. So first of all, what's the first thing that I learned? You have to be very careful of who you interact with in the daily basis, because you, without even realizing, you will like form a bond and a connection and an attachment to this person. So I want you to be very careful, very, very cautious of who you interact with consistently. Because honestly, it's not fun trying to get over something that was never even concrete. So yeah, be very careful, be very cautious, and try to communicate as much as possible about your boundaries. Number 2, you need to have a boundary, okay? You have to know that you can't just keep interacting with them. You can't just keep letting them, you know, like talk to you every single day, but you guys are not even a thing. And then you guys will end up catching feelings, and then you guys will end up trying to move on from each other, even though you guys were never together. Basically, like, it feels like you guys had a relationship because you guys did things that were things that people in a relationship would do. Like, you guys would talk about emotional things, like you guys would like comfort each other when you guys were having a hard time. Like, that's something that people in a relationship or like really, really friends with do. So like, yeah, be very, very cautious of who you interact with, okay? Because you don't even realize it, and you're gonna be like in love with this person, or maybe just attached. So number 2, just because it didn't work out doesn't mean you're doomed forever. Number 4, what do I need you to know? I need you to know that what you're feeling is valid. Now, you guys might not have been in a relationship, but you guys still had a connection. You see, you guys still talked consistently in the daily basis. So it's inevitable. It's completely normal. And you guys are bound to form this attachment to each other. This bond, attachment. I need you to realize whatever you're feeling right now is valid. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel hurt. Because personally, like in my childhood, I was always told that what I'm feeling is either shameful, or it was always minimized or ignored. And since that's my childhood, that like programmed my like relationship attachment style to be like fearful avoidant, which I had like moments of like myself just like invalidating what I'm feeling. But no, honestly, you're the first one who needs to accept what you're feeling right now is valid. You need to realize you are allowed to feel sad about it, because you guys still spent a lot of time with each other, and not spending enough time with each other anymore now is obviously gonna make you feel kind of sad. So first, I need you to validate that emotion for yourself. If you grew up not having consistent like emotional support, give that to yourself. So whenever you're feeling sad, okay, I'm sad. Like, identify that emotion. Why am I sad? You also should like journal about it, because that's really gonna help you process everything, and that's gonna help you heal your wounds, and that's really gonna help you heal your inner child and everything that happened. I need you to really realize that if you don't allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling right now about this situation, you're never gonna be able to move on. You're never gonna be able to move forward. You're never gonna be able to heal, because it's only when you really accept what you're feeling is when you can actually purge it or like get rid of it, because the more you suppress what you're feeling, the longer it will take for you to actually heal. You have to like accept the fact that, okay, I feel this way about that situation. You have to be really real with yourself, like even though it's uncomfortable and feels weird to like accept that, yeah, you're feeling sad even though you guys weren't in a relationship. Like, you have to accept. Guys, I'm telling you, I used to be that person who suppressed whatever they're feeling, who denied to themselves whatever they're feeling. So I neglected like a part of me, maybe my heart. I neglected what my heart was saying, and I just followed what my mind was saying. And that's like really gonna haunt you. And like years later, like honestly, it happened to me. I'm gonna be very transparent right now. I used to like this person, and I denied to myself that I did, because I was just too scared of the unfamiliarity that it brings and the uncertainty that relationship brought. So what I did was like I basically denied, and like I was telling myself, no, I don't actually want to be in a relationship. Like, I told myself that I didn't like them, but I knew deep inside I did. I was starting to like them, because I was starting to like who they were as a person and their personality and how they treated me. But at the same time, it wasn't perfect. So like it also like didn't really like came to me as like this perfect thing, because like nothing in this world is perfect. But you can compromise, you can like speak up with what you're feeling. But since I didn't have the communication skills to do that, I was too afraid that I'm asking for too much. I'm also scared that I'm like being so like too much, or like a burden to anyone. So I literally grew up very hyper independent, so I don't know how to like talk to people about what I'm feeling and like what I'm going through, because I've never had that. Like, you guys have to realize I'm an only child, so I learned how to be hyper independent in a very young age. I had to parent myself, because whenever I was dealing with emotions, my parents didn't know how to deal with me, so I had to learn how to deal with myself. So that's really, really the reason why I found it hard to like communicate with other people, because I never had that same practice as other people, never had that safe consistent people that I felt emotionally safe with to share what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So yeah, like that's why that conflict never got resolved. And yeah, so I forgot what I was talking about. Lutang much. Okay, so now that you guys know what situationships are and what usually happens in our situationship, I want you to know that healing is possible. Healing is possible, but it's also linear. And other days, you will feel sad. And another day, you're gonna feel so happy and healed. Honestly, it's gonna be really, really hard. I'm just being honest. Like, I'm still healing from it, even though it was so many years ago. Because I never really had like a closure we never really had a closure in that situation. So we didn't talk at all about what happened. And you have to accept that maybe that's just not meant to happen. You're just meant to give that closure to yourself. And maybe some things were not meant to have a closure because it's meant to teach you something. So the other thing, this situation didn't work out for a good reason. You're supposed to learn a big lesson from this situation. So honestly, yeah, you feel sad, but you have to realize this is teaching you. The pain is teaching you something about yourself. Let it teach you what you didn't know about yourself, what you didn't know about other people, what you didn't know about love, what you didn't know about relationships in general. This is gonna catapult you into your self-discovery. And honestly, that's the most beautiful thing that I've personally got from this experience. I got to know why I act this way. I got to know and understand why I behave this way, and also it gives you a bit more compassion to yourself, because for so long I didn't even understand myself. So how can I make another person understand me if I didn't even understand myself? How can I let another person love me if I didn't even love myself? One thing that I learned is that you will never ever receive the love that people are trying to give you if you don't love yourself first. You don't know who you are. I didn't know who I was, honestly. That's such a hard thing to be living in, the fact that you don't know yourself. You haven't spent enough time to really ask yourself shallow and hard questions. Journaling is so helpful, guys. Do it. It's gonna help your mental health so much. The moment that I finally was more purposeful with getting to know myself in a deeper level, everything changed. My perception of myself changed, and it was so helpful, guys, because the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to understand why sometimes you have to accept that some things are not meant to work out. And that's okay. You guys were just meant to meet each other at one point in your life, and you guys are meant to learn something beautiful and meaningful, and then you guys are meant to separate ways and bring that knowledge that you have now to new people, new environment, new situations, new relationships. And the more you realize that not everything in this world is meant to last, the better healing you will be in. You have to accept that not everything is gonna work out. That's just life. Nothing in this world is for sure. The only thing that we can control is how we react to situations and how we perceive ourselves. Don't focus on things that you cannot control, because honestly, you will just drive yourself insane, because we can't keep worrying about something that we cannot control, because no amount of worrying or overthinking will change the fact that we're just not in control about those things. So yeah, know that the love that you felt for them, the love that you're looking for, the love that you're craving deep inside, is already inside of you, and you can give that love to yourself first. Also, a thing that I realized is that I tended to comfort other people who were coming to me, and I ended up feeling depleted and used in a way, and also exhausted, because I never had enough bravery and emotional transparency to other people with what I'm going through. So I literally felt like whenever other people were going through something, they would come to me, because they were brave enough to share their emotional side and their vulnerabilities with me. But me, I felt like nobody was there for me whenever I was going through something, and that's low-key because of my upbringing in my childhood as well. I never really learned how to rely on other people, so I wouldn't know how to express myself, because I would feel like either I'll be shamed or just ignored or ridiculed for what it's partly my fault that I didn't found it safe to open up to other people about my struggles and my emotional vulnerabilities. But also it was because of what I got used to in my childhood. So I can't really blame myself, because I wasn't the one who parented myself. So yeah, I just did whatever I thought was best, and I didn't try to hurt anybody, honestly. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't want to reject anyone. Also, another thing is that I actually rejected myself, and I didn't realize you guys, some of you guys are sabotaging your relationships with other people without even realizing it. Because me, I sabotaged my friendships and my situations without even realizing it, bro. I only realized that when it was way too late, and it was like years later, like way long, like long after what happened, you know? And you also have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself and other people. Like, we didn't know the things that we know now. We can't like keep like beating ourselves up for things that we didn't know, you know? Like, we just did the best that we knew how, and like we tried our best with what we knew. We have to be very gentle and compassionate with ourselves, because you have to realize your inner child still lives in you. Honestly, if you're not gonna be kind to that inner child, who will? Who will? If you're not gonna treat yourself with respect, who else will? Yeah, it all starts within you. If you're not willing to respect yourself, if you're not willing to be there for yourself, no one will. I felt like nobody was there for me whenever I was having a hard time, because I wasn't there for myself. I was always worried about, how other people are doing. How are you guys? Like, come to me whenever they're having a hard time, but whenever I'm having a hard time, I just deal with it on my own. And then there's like gonna be resentment like growing inside of me, because I never ask for help when I need help. And I have to realize, like, you're neglecting yourself. That's why you feel depleted whenever you help other people and they don't help you. This is the most important thing that I learned. How are other people supposed to help you when you can't even help yourself? How are other people supposed to get to know you when you don't even know yourself? For so long, like, I didn't think I was lovable. I didn't think I was likable. I had a very big sense of self-hatred in myself, like rooted deep. I didn't even realize that I hated myself. Honestly, like, for so many years, I talked so negatively to myself. I would talk to myself as if I don't even love myself. You have to realize you have to talk to yourself like how you would talk to other people that you love, to a person that you love. So, honestly, there's so many years in my life that I talk so badly to myself. Like, if you guys can hear the words that I told myself in the daily basis, it's over. I didn't realize how much I hated myself, and because I hated myself so much and I treated myself negatively, I neglected myself, I abused myself emotionally. Like, I thought that people will never like me, you know? How are they supposed to like me when I don't even like myself? That's the problem. Like, I needed to really learn myself first, able to really believe that people are able to love me. Because, like, I'm just saying, like, how do they love me when they haven't even seen the dark parts of me? Like, they haven't even seen the mad parts of me, the negative, pessimistic side of me. And that's the thing. Like, people are only gonna meet you how far they met themselves. To the extent. People are only gonna meet you to the extent that they've met themselves. So I wasn't honestly rejecting other people that wanted to be friends with me. I wasn't rejecting other people that liked me. It's because I couldn't like myself. So I couldn't believe other people would like me, because how are they gonna like me if I don't even like myself? I found it so hard to like myself. So I found it impossible for anybody else to like me, because all I saw in myself was negative. Like, negative things about me was my identity inside of my head. So I needed to really heal first. And this situation catapults you into your self-discovery. You have to realize that's a blessing. That's a blessing in disguise. You're supposed to meet yourself first in the deep level before you're able to, get into a relationship with other people. Maybe God is trying to protect you, God hears like conversations you don't hear, People, rejection is redirection. Another thing that I didn't realize is the fact that I don't even trust myself. So that's one of the reasons why I couldn't trust other people, because I found it so hard to trust myself. So obviously, it was even harder for me to trust other people. So yeah, you have to retry and regain that sense of self-trust in you that you've lost in the past. it is possible, but it takes time. It takes a lot of effort, and healing is not linear at all. Like, other days you're gonna be fine, other days you feel like you hate yourself again. It's not easy trying to heal traumas or trying to heal, your wounds, core wounds from the past. But it is possible. You're not gonna be healed 100%. You have to accept that everything is not like final, You also don't have to be what other people tell you that you are. Oh my god, this is not situationship anymore. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned things about yourself and other people, and I hope that you got a sense of comfort from everything that I've said. I hope that you heal so well, and I hope that we both heal and we can finally move forward in life without any energy suckers from past situations hindering us from really truly moving forward. Thank you for watching. Bye. Love you.